Kofi Mensah was born in a small village in the heart of Africa at a time when people still believed that a child with a disability was either cursed or paying for the sins of his ancestors. He came into the world with a crooked leg and a spine that leaned slightly to one side. The village elders whispered. The women clicked their tongues in pity. His father, Kwame, considered disowning him. But Kofi's mother, Abena, was a force of nature. Cursed? My foot! She barked at anyone who dared to suggest it. This boy will be greater than all of your lazy sons combined. Kofi himself didn't have time for self-pity. From a young age, he realized that the world wasn't going to wait for him to catch up. While other boys ran to school, he limped determinedly behind, refusing to ask for help. He fell a lot. He bled a lot. He got up every time. His mother's encouraging voice was always at the back of his mind. Kofi, you are the best. Don't let anyone ever cheat you out of your blessings. That was Kofi's mother. At school, the other kids were merciless. Kofi, are you sure you're not walking in reverse? They jeered. If you run in a race, will we need a calendar to time you? But Kofi had a sharp tongue. At least I'm running. You people sit at home failing exams every year. He quickly became known as the boy who could insult you so well that even the teacher would laugh. Despite the teasing, Kofi was brilliant. While other children hated school, he devoured every book he could find. He listened to BBC radio on his neighbor's old, crackling transistor and repeated words in his perfect British accent. Soon, even his teachers started calling him Professor. A stroke of luck, or hard work. One day, a rich businessman named Mr. Agiman came to visit the village. He was building a new school and wanted to test the children's knowledge. If anyone can answer my question, he said, I will pay for their education up to university. The whole village held its breath. What is the capital of Brazil? Silence. Then, Brasilia! Kofi shouted. Everyone turned. Eh? Are you sure? Mr. Agiman asked, surprised. Yes, sir, and I can also tell you that Ghana gained independence on March 6th, 1957. The square root of 144 is 12, and the longest river in the world is the Nile. The villagers gasped. Mr. Agiman smiled. Pack your things, Kofi. You're going to the city. New challenges. Same Kofi life in the city was different. It was fast, noisy, and full of people who didn't have time for a boy with a limp. But Kofi didn't care. He studied like a man possessed. He won every quiz competition. He graduated top of his class. When he got a scholarship to study in the UK, his mother cried tears of joy. His father, who once considered disowning him, now bragged to anyone who would listen. The return of a king. Years later, Kofi returned, not just as a successful man, but as one of his country's most brilliant economists. He started a foundation to help children with disabilities, proving to everyone that success is not about physical strength, but determination. At his homecoming event, the same kids who once mocked him now lined up for selfies. Kofi, do you remember me? Yes, you were the one who said I walked like a crab. Ah, that was a joke, Kofi laughed. Well, joke's on you. I own the bank that gave you that loan you're struggling to pay. And with that, he limped away, stronger, prouder, and completely unstoppable. Kofi married the neighboring village's beauty, a no-nonsense woman in her own right. The family was a formidable one. When their firstborn died in infancy, she demanded answers from the professionals. But when it became clear that none was forthcoming, Kofi and his wife decided on the only recourse they were familiar with. They hit the books, determined not to have a repeat of what had happened to their firstborn. 5 years later, Kofi was on his way to becoming a doctor. The villagers were perplexed. And jealousy came from other family members. Kofi, wasn't the qualification of 1 degree enough? Asked Kofi's cousin. Of course it was enough, as you can see. Then why all the trouble? You see, dear cousin, The sky is big enough with space for all birds to fly without ruffling each other's feathers. I invite you to start flying. That stopped the jealous cousin. But Kofi also learned that with success, one also had to be careful, especially when it comes to close relatives. Kofi and his wife ended up having triplets. That's enough, Kofi told his wife. Who says? Asked his wife. Mrs. Kofi guarded her little dear ones with extreme care, and in the end they agreed to have no more children. Kofi became a renowned pediatrician, helping people all across the country. Moral of the story: work hard, you will reap the benefits. Encourage your children to pursue their dreams and they will be successful. Just decide not to listen to negative people.